Okay, after doing my demonstration there, what I wanted to show you was a couple of different types of feet. So what I've done here is I've created another pinch bowl. Same method, pinched it all around, smoothed it out. I even used my blue rib on the outside, especially on this banding wheel. It makes it nice and handy to get rid of all those little dimple marks and those little hand finger marks and stuff like that, so that we get a nice smooth surface on the outside. Again, this will come into play later on when we apply the glaze and it's glossy and you can see all the little dimples because it reflects the light, but that's another time. So here's my little bowl, okay? What I want to show you is that you don't have to do those big triangles that I did for my particular project. I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to make just a coil foot, which is probably one of the easiest ones to do. Now, again, this is gonna require you to roll out coils, and as time has told me, many of you guys get very scared about rolling coils, but again, it's one of those things that if you practice it over and over and over again, it will become much better and you'll get very good at it. So again, light pressure, not too much, rolling it as much as you can. Make sure things are out of your way so that you can roll it all the way from one end of your hand to the other. Okay, and we got just like that. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and dry fit. And a dry fit just means that I'm gonna set it on here and just kind of map out where I want it to go. Oops. And then I'm gonna cut it. Again, take the ends, overlap them, okay? And then cut through both of them just like so. Take away the two pieces that don't matter. And now I've got these two that should fit nice and smooth together, all right? Now I'm gonna smooth these together on the ends so that I make a ring that, what? Oh yeah, it doesn't look like it was ever more than one piece. So now I can actually make a piece of kind of chain link in a sense, if I can get these to connect well enough. There we go, now we're getting somewhere. So again, you should be able to, a little smudge of something black on, there's a little bit of oil from the banding wheel. There we go. So if I smooth this together and I do this correctly, and I start moving it around a whole bunch of times like that, you can see that it's very difficult to tell where those two pieces are connected. And mainly because I've got a little black smudge on there, that's the easiest way to tell. But otherwise, there's no little dents or anything, and it looks like it was all one piece. So that's the great thing about it. Okay, going to take my comb, which has escaped me. There it is. Okay. So I set it right here in the middle. I'm gonna go around score and slip. So scratch it. Again, this is the way we connect all pieces of clay. We're gonna scratch the two surfaces that are gonna meet up, just like so. And again, I usually do just kind of a crisscrossing pattern. Does it really matter what the pattern looks like? No. As long as it's rough and the water will connect into all those little nooks and crannies, and you can kind of see how it kind of soaks in. And it just makes that nice slurry of clay that's really slippery, hence the name slip. I'm gonna press it down just like so. Okay, now once I've got it on there, I'm gonna go ahead and smooth this together on the inside. I'm gonna do it on the inside only because I'm gonna leave that coil shape on the outside. Now when I do this, it's really important that I take my left hand, or my opposite hand, and I'm gonna put my finger right underneath to support that coil. I'm then gonna drag part of that coil down into the clay, and I don't know if you guys can see that in the video, hopefully you can. And then I'm gonna roll it, spin it around a little bit, and spin it around. And I'm gonna do this all the way around. Now again, when we score and slip, we also smooth. And what we're gonna do is, by smoothing it like so, we're gonna go the opposite directions. Again, my left hand is always gonna be supporting that coil. All right, and I'll explain to you why when I get to the next one. Okay, just like so. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and take, hopefully this is long enough. I've got a little bit more coil here. Oh, it's almost like I planned it like that. I didn't, but I'm gonna roll this out just so it's a little bit more even. All right, that'll make it a little bit longer too. Keep in mind, every time you roll that out, it's going to stretch it a little bit. It'll also make it a little bit thinner. All right, so my second coil, And I'll hold this up so you can kind of see what I'm doing here, okay? But my second coil is going to be a little bit bigger than the first one. Okay, so that ring that I created, this second one is going to be a little bit bigger, okay? So you can kind of see that the size of this versus the size of this, okay? So this is a little bit bigger. Again, going to go ahead and smooth the ends together, just using my fingertips. Best tools in the world are your hands, okay? And then I set that on there. And because this clay is so wet, it is not super critical that we score and slip. But let's get into the habit of just kind of doing that every time. So we're gonna go ahead and score and slip. If I go at the same angle and I go back and forth, it usually helps create that kind of crisscrossy kind of a pattern. A little bit of water. Again, you don't need to use a lot of water. The more water you use, the wetter it'll be, and sometimes that'll cause it to be a little bit more difficult to work with. Okay, so by making this coil a little bit larger, a little bit wider in diameter than the one below it, okay, you'll notice that my foot is starting to flare outward. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me a little bit more stability. Okay, again, supporting it with my finger underneath. I'm then going to go ahead and drag and smooth that into the coil below. Now, I mentioned I was going to explain why. If I don't support this, and you'll be able to see it this way, and I start pushing down, notice what happens, okay? I can't smooth it because it's now pushing that coil down off the side. Notice that it's not actually smoothing together, it's just getting pushed off. I want to keep this angle, okay, nice and even like that. So I have to hold and put that coil where I want it to so that it holds itself in place. All right, and go around and do that all the way around one side. And then we're going to smooth that together going upwards on the other one. Once we get that all connected, then we come back in and smooth this with our fingers. Again, making it look like it was never more than one piece of clay. One of my favorite things, like so. Okay, so now my foot looks like that. So when I flip it over, okay, I've got a foot here. Now I do have some tool marks and things that you can see. If I hold that right up in there, you can see in between all those little edges. That's again where the paintbrush comes in. Take a little paintbrush. That works like a piece of sandpaper in a sense, but you can get in between all those little edges and nooks and crannies, get rid of all those little crack marks, things that we don't want. We want to smooth those out before we get to the glazing part of this so that it's nice and smooth. Okay, and so there is a different type of foot that you can do as well. Okay, all right. We'll call it a day for now, and we'll talk to you about the next part of it in the next one.